Hey guys, today with the topic of jealousy in relationships. Or rather, what is good and what is bad for you, even when dating. I have it in an older video already addressed briefly. Jealousy is not a bad thing in my eyes. On the contrary, if your girlfriend is not jealous at all, then she is aware that she has you in her pocket and it doesn't matter what she actually does. In the even slightly worse case, she thinks that you couldn't get anyone anyway and be lucky to have her. This is what usually happens when you put her on a pedestal, read her every wish from her eyes, and when she snaps her fingers, is at her disposal like a submissive puppy. Don't get me wrong, I am someone who tries to be as responsive as possible to my partner within a relationship, occasionally making small gestures of affection, or on special occasions, even large ones. But I don't take my partner for granted, nor do I think that she is the one and it couldn't be just as nice with another woman. But I do see her, as I hope she sees me, as an individual whose needs are unique in some way and can be met by me despite my adherence to my frame. If they couldn't, and if I had to back off to the point of stepping out of my frame and doing things I'm not up for, she'd be the wrong one for me. Unfortunately, hardly anyone has such a frame, especially if he or she has never dealt with it but takes everything for granted that is shown on TV or in society. So learn and do not make the mistake to give everything for a woman to be let as a reward from time to time. Take relationships that you enter seriously, if you also want to be taken seriously, and keep them at eye level. Because a woman who feels superior to you in a relationship will also act that way, and an indication is that she does not need jealousy. By the way, it is not such a fine line as you would think, not to feel jealousy and not to show jealousy. Some people tell themselves they're just very much in control, but jealousy feels like a stab in the heart, and it's pretty damn easy to show when you actually have it. So it's easy to figure out if your girlfriend or date doesn't give a shit about who you're spending time with, or if she's actively asking, better yet, if she's communicating with you about what's okay for her and what's not. Up to a certain point this is all fine, but at a certain point your frame comes into play again. And it starts there, when she makes you feel guilty because you do things that you enjoy and that belong to you. Whether it's a guy's night out in the old town or something more extreme, she doesn't accept it and tries to manipulate you by being passive-aggressive or even openly forbidding something. If she doesn't accept your frame, and then it's time to exclude this woman from your life. Give her another chance if you want, but usually people have their boundaries set and you don't want to have to bend for anyone and put your needs aside. If you do that once, it becomes standard and they will demand that of you by default. And just like when you were a child, you have fixed times when you are allowed to use your console, friends can only be invited on Sundays, going to town with the boys is a no-no anyway because you could spend time with them or you could just mess things up with them anyway. This is partly not even a matter of trust, this is the exercise of power, and the penalty, or what it is to lose, is the mutual respect and trust within the relationship. And once the trust is gone, it is not a matter of impossibility to restore it, I am convinced of that. But most of the time it is not worth the time, your time, that it would take. You can't actively restore it. If it's a matter of trust, sometimes it doesn't even have to have something to do with you actively, and you also have to make that clear to your partner. These are then mostly problems from their past, and also I had already addressed this. If you are already in a firm partnership you can support, but never are you so much responsible for this person that you must, should, or can fix her in the truest sense of the word. That simply doesn't work, that has to come from her, and then you both have a chance to change that. But since we have to assume that such things are due to the type of attachment a person has at this stage of their life, it's a damn complicated and tricky business. In short, there are avoidant, secure and anxious attachment types. And there is another mishmash which is rarer, and no, you or your partner are not the exception of the exception. But especially the anxious attachment type tends to jealousy problems, which you can only subconsciously cancel out as a secure attachment type. Attachment types can be changed, but this is a lot of work and usually takes years and drastic experiences, so this is not an option right now in this relationship. So you have two options on how to approach this: either you work on each other, you on each other, she on herself and her own problems in this direction, or you separate. But you working on her and her thinking she can change you, that doesn't work. If you want to know more about this, I recommend the book, Why We Always Fall in Love with the Wrong Person by Rachel Heller. Stupid name I know, and thanks for the book tip also to Coach Misha. Well, where was I? Exactly, trust issues and how intense is jealousy. If all this goes clear for you and does not affect your frame, then everything is great. Jealousy in itself is nothing bad. If it becomes manic, then you have a problem in the relationship, and there you should also listen to smaller signs and times 1 and 1 together. Because it always starts small, but if it becomes more and more and finally ends with her when you are in the shower, searching your cell phone, sorry, but these are borderline violations that you should have prevented from the beginning. And that by clear announcements. If you answer my cell phone again without asking, I'm gone. And you have to be ready for that, because the relationship is developing in a direction that is not okay. This is of course bad. If you really had something to hide, most women say then, yes, then let me just this once look at it, then I'm quiet. And I understand everyone who then says, no, I am not aware of any guilt, you are crazy. But also there the compromise would be to show it to her once and then never again. Just like it's bad to look at your partner's phone, but if you have serious doubts if she's making eyes at an orbiter, to say, watch out, I think you're screwing up, prove to me this one time that it's not like that, and then I'll be quiet in the future and apologize if I was wrong. Is all an very unpleasant topic, how you turn it and turn, but basically, you have to recognize where it starts and where it ends and whether their way of acting fits into your frame. If not, talk to her and find out the will to change it. And if that doesn't lead to anything, you change the situation, otherwise you tacitly agree and accept it. But then you will not be happier with it in the future. Do well, and until the next video.